Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. And today it's going to be a little tiny bit different. So, today I'd like to start a series called Story Time. So, in this particular story, I want to tell you guys I'm going to tell you guys about the time I went to Greece. And in this specific story, I want to tell you guys how I got robbed in Greece. So, if you guys don't know, Greece already has like a very dookie economy, I'd say, to put in the best word possible, of course. So they have a very bad economy to the point where people resort to crime because they can't find a job, and a lot of bad stuff goes on whenever people don't get jobs in a country. Okay, so basically, I was traveling for karate. I'm a part of a international karate team, and we were going to an international tournament, which of course made us go to Greece to compete. And so when we went there, we got there and we were all really jet lagged. We had like a 20-minute layover in the Netherlands, and so we got there and we were all jet lagged. We were like, oh, like what's going on? Okay, and then our first instinct was like, let's stay close to the hotel, okay, because we don't want any of our kids getting like kidnapped or robbed or anything like that. And sure enough, we go to this restaurant across the street that sells gyros, and we had to sit down, and it was an outside restaurant. Inside was where you pay and where they make the food. So we dined outside, of course, because we couldn't dine inside. We didn't have that opportunity, okay? But we dined outside, and immediately as we dined outside, me and my dad, we were looking at each other, and we have like this thing that we call code yellow, code white, and then code red. Okay. Now code red is like, oh my God, something's going on. We need to get up and do something. Code white is we're completely oblivious to everything around us, which that never happens. Okay, unless we're having like the best time of our life. Okay. And then we have code yellow. Code yellow is caution. It's like the little caution flag in NASCAR. And so as we were in code caution, we noticed that three guys walked by. And no, we didn't notice them at first, but as the three guys, like they walked by. Okay, we kind of glanced at them. We're like, oh, whatever. Okay, then they walked by the second time. They went from to, and then they walked by the second time, and me and my dad both looked at each other, and we're like telepathically communicated. We're like, you saw that, right? And he's like, yeah, I saw that. Okay, I kind of felt this like twin connection to my dad for a little bit. But basically, okay, whenever that happened, I I was looking around, like I was making sure like anybody else with them, but it was just those three guys. And then they walked by a third time, and we were like little girls in a candy shop because we're a karate team, and so it's like we trained for this our entire lives. Or I trained for this 7 years, right? And so they walked by a third time, and we're like little girls. We're like, oh my God, something might happen. Okay, but then they walked by a fourth time, and they came into the restaurant, and we were like, oh. Our instant like just turned into like, don't look at them. Okay, so basically, one guy came in. Now I know what you're thinking. You're like, one guy. Oh, that's interesting. Why not all three? Well, I'll tell you why. So one guy walked in and pulled the menu right out in front of my face. I was sitting at the table. I was having a good time. I was like, yeah, yes, lady, I want to order this and this and this. And then I put it down, and this guy walks up, and I wasn't done ordering yet, but I lost the word to it. And he just walks up, boom, grabs the this is my mouse pad, my second one, and so he's like, boom, just grabs it off the table, boom, and walks off with it. I'm like, really? Like, dude, this place has dookie service, bro. And then the lady's like, oh, don't worry about that. And then she like hands me another one. So I thought he worked there. So I was like, oh, okay, obviously you needed a menu. And I'm a nice guy, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. Okay, you can take my menu. We got plenty over here. Okay, so he takes the menu, and I watch him walk off with the menu, and he walks off like 3 feet apart from us, which I'm like, okay, that's pretty weird. Why would he just grab it and like, boom? And so he set it in front of, so there was a dude and there was a lady that were both dining right next to us. And so while they were dining right next to us, we were like, hey, uh, we were like, hey, yeah, whatever. We were dilly dallying around at our own table, and they were like having a date night or something, and so they were dining. The guy stood up, left his phone on the table. Okay, which is an awful idea. You should always bring your phone wherever you're going, because especially in Greece, because obviously you'll get it stolen. And so the guy walked off, went to the bathroom. Okay, but the guy with the menu, he walked over and put the menu in front of the phone, like in front of the phone, the phone, boom, put it in front of the phone, so the lady couldn't see the phone anymore. So he grabbed the phone, and put it in his pocket. Okay, and as he put it in his pocket, he's like, oh, sorry, I don't speak English. And the lady speaks English. And so he's like, let me go find a server that speaks English. And so he like, boom, put the menu down, walked off with the phone. And me and my dad, we both looked at each other and we're like, that just happened. We're like, that just happened. And then we're like, telepathic communicate. And so my dad stands up, he goes, hey. And the guy looks at him, he's like, oh, and then runs off. And so we're like, yo, oh my God, this guy just got his phone stolen. And my dad, he goes gung-ho with a fork in his hand and starts running after him. He ran for him like 3 blocks. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm going to hold down the fort, make sure nobody else gets hurt. And turns out, as my dad was like, hey, the other 2 guys were there. The other 2 guys, they were like, brrr, and they walked up and they took some stuff out of my teammate's sister's purse. And so when that happened, we didn't notice it. And so the other 2 guys walked off. We didn't notice the other 2 guys, and my dad chased after the one guy. So eventually, my dad chased the one guy out until he caught him. Well, he didn't really catch him. The guy was like, screw this. This guy's not going to stop. And so he dropped the phone on the ground and then took off. And so my dad, he grabbed the phone, came back, this and that. And so conveniently, as he was about to catch this one guy, the police on motorcycles just like tandemed, and they were like, and stopped. And my dad was like, hey, yo, some guy just got his phone stolen. And then, so basically, they came up and they were like, hey, yeah, what's going on? And so as the police walked up, my dad still had the knife in his hand. And so, and also, you got to understand, we're in a foreign country. And this foreign country isn't very big on English. And so these cops, these policemen, they don't speak English. And so my dad's just waving a fork around like, hey, this guy was doing this. And he was like pointing at the cops with the knife. So the cops, they thought they were being threatened with a knife right now. Because all they saw was like my dad just waving a fork around, and they saw him chasing a dude. So they thought my dad was bonkers off his knocker. And so my dad was like, here, follow me. And so he goes, my dad realizes that they don't speak English. He's like, hey, let's go to the restaurant. Okay, they had no clue what was going on. They had no clue if they were being leaded into like a trap or something, or we'd like take their guns or something. So we take them or dad takes them to the restaurant, and then the server there like barely speaks any English, thank God. And she's like, yeah, somebody stole the phone, this and that. And then and my dad still has the fork in his hand. I'm like, Dad, put the fork down. What are you doing? And he's like, oh, sorry. And puts the fork down. And so basically, that was our whole first night in Greece. It was like a straight 45 minutes of us like worrying whether my dad was doing something worthy or anything like that. Like, I didn't know if my dad died out there, but I probably wouldn't have known unless he didn't come back. So basically, he had to go to the station, and I was still there holding down the fort. I was like, all right, it's whatever. And then one of the guys from the group, we noticed because he had like an orange jacket on. And so when he had that orange jacket on, he came back to try and steal some more stuff and look less skeptical, which that was a big mistake on his hand. So we noticed this guy, and me and my dad, we ran after him, and he didn't get that far. We instantly got him and started beating the living bejesus out of him. And I'll tell you, the only place that you can beat the living Christ out of somebody without getting arrested or getting sued is Greece, okay? No way you can do that anywhere else, okay? So we were beating this guy, and then the cops, they come up and they break us off of him. And they're like, hey, stop that, blah, 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 this and that. And they're like, you're not in trouble because he's a thief. Okay, we've already kind of done his case a good 5 or 6 times. Okay, not even gonna mess with that. Okay, and so basically, what happened from there is he was so he was apprehended. Of course, he was taken to jail, and they had to get a witness statement for my dad and for me and for our karate team, instructor. And so dad was one of the instructors, I was one of the instructors, and Mr. McKinney, or Chris, was one of the instructors. And so we had to go back. We had to go to a police station that was like 45 minutes away. It was like over the hills and through the woods, all that bull crap. And so we go there. None of these guys speak English, so we have to wait like an hour for a translator to get there. It was very inconvenient. So they bring us there in the cop car. We feel like we're getting arrested, and we're not sure really what's going on. And then they put us in like this room, and we have to speak our story one at a time. And it's like almost like an interrogation room, man. And I felt like honestly I was a suspect at the moment. But then they were like, "Okay, you're free to go." And we're like, "Okay, cool. Drive us back." And they're like, "Sorry, we got you here. We're not gonna get you back." And so we had to walk because we didn't know what was a cab. We didn't know what wasn't a cab. They don't really have an Uber system in Greece. Okay, their Uber system is doo-doo. Okay, we tried their Uber system. It didn't work, especially at 12 o'clock at night. Nobody's gonna be Ubering. And so we're walking through like, okay, if you guys don't know what Greece is, okay, Greece is basically like this big, like there's a big point in the middle. Okay, let's say this is the big point. That's the Parthenon. That's like the really cool spot that everybody goes to. Everybody's like a tourist. Woohoo! Yeah, cool stuff. Okay, and everything around that is like Chicago, Detroit. All right, like it's insane. Okay, I mean, to be honest, I think you can go to Chicago or Detroit and expect not to get robbed, but you go to Greece and you're gonna get robbed. Okay, I mean, don't if you're gonna plan a European vacation, don't go to Greece. If you're gonna go to Greece, go to Crete, please. Crete is much better. Crete is like a little island off in itself, and it's perfect. It's cool. All right, but don't go to Athens, please. Okay, Athens is doo doo. Okay, Athens is doo doo because of its economy and all that dookie stuff. So basically, that's my story of how I got robbed in one night. And so basically, we had to walk home in the dark and since it was a 45-minute drive, we had to walk for like 2.5 hours, man. And it sucked because we didn't know if we were gonna get shot, if we were gonna get noticed, if the two guys were still here somehow and they found us and we were gonna get jumped. Thankfully, we were three of the most experienced martial artists in Greece at the time, so we had that. But like we're still scared. We didn't know if we were gonna get shot or something like that. So it was a crazy experience for me and my dad and Mr. McKinney, our karate instructor. Oh, so with all that said, that will tear up the story for now. So we finally got home. We got to the hotel, and everything was good. We were fine. We made it there like 2 in the morning. We had tournament the next day, so we had like a 4-hour sleep, and then we had to wake up at 6 o'clock and go to the tournament, which was 13 hours. It was torture, but we still made it through it. Of course, I'm still alive, and I'm all well. So, if you stayed to watch the rest of the video, I hope you enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, please leave a like, make sure you comment, and make sure to please subscribe. Okay, we're already past that 50 bomb. I want to get to 100 subscribers by the end of February. That would be my main goal for this channel at the moment. Now, if you like this Storytime series that I'm going to start putting on, if you like what's going on here, please tell me. Leave it in the comment sections. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me what I'm doing is good, okay? And if you stayed to the end of this video, please turn on those post notifications so you never miss a single video. And on that note, I hope you have a great day.